Thank you for joining me for another Alex on Tech and ITY.com video. I'm joined today by Samuel Lewinson. He's the COO of JAR Aerospace. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Alex. Great to be here.
Thank you. Now, we're here today at Cisco's Cisco Start event. This is an SMB startup challenge, and you were one of the 5 finalists. Just tell us quickly the short version of how you got involved in Cisco Start.
So we submitted an online application, 50 words or less, about how Cisco Start can transform your business, and we just been through a cybersecurity crisis actually, and we essentially were dealing with that, and so we submitted our 50 words telling them about the issue we'd had, very early days, and they ended up sending us back a response to come be a finalist in this competition. We accepted, and now obviously it was a very interesting challenge. There was great other finalists. We all got to go and pitch, and then I was lucky enough to win the prize, which was great. And
without giving any secrets away, what was the cybersecurity challenge? Because I'm sure other startups would want to learn.
So it was something that we hadn't been exposed to. It was in the first 2 months of our business, and we were actually just email phished. So it was basically we were contacting a supplier, and then we received a bogey invoice, and we ended up paying that and losing out to it. And obviously being an SME, not a huge amount of resources. This was pretty substantial to us. So it had its own challenges, like any issue in the business. But.
Sure. So tell us about JAR Aerospace and what sparked the idea to create the company.
Sure. So we're about an 18-month-old startup now. We like to think of ourselves as a young and emerging prime systems integrator. We want to grow and develop into a prime systems integrator for Australia. We want to sit in that position. When we're developing technology, we have a strong focus on the customer requirements, and specifically meeting those at a from a high technological capability standpoint is what we really focus to achieve.
But why space? Was it because you loved Star Wars and Star Trek and you wanted to, actually do something real in that space one day, or was it something else?
Absolutely. The way we see it, and the conversation that the founders always have, is that the space industry's been the same since the 60s. The rockets all look the same. There's no real disruptive innovation, and we really see a huge opportunity for new emerging technologies to really influence the way that business is done in these areas, and concepts such as SSO vehicles or single stage to orbit vehicles could really transform the way people are transported around the world, and the way that transport is perceived by humans. Really, it could really change our way of life.
Now you talk about prime system integrator, but you also spoke about manufacturing. You spoke further down the line about you started with drones. You want to do submarines, which is like drones in the water, and also space vehicles and getting things up into space. So will you be doing the manufacturing yourself? Will you have partners in Australia? Obviously there's all the opportunities to have stuff manufactured in China, where theoretically the costs are lower. So what is some of the other background about how you're sort of going to get the space industry in Australia kicked off with, from your point of view?
Yeah, well, one of our major customers is actually the Australian Defence Force. So in terms of supplying for them, when we're developing technology, we're actually developing the majority of it within Australia with key partners. So we're striving to really strengthen those partnerships with key players from the aerospace and defence industry, so that we can draw their technologies together and essentially develop the best solutions possible for the military. And in that sense, what we've been looking to do in terms of manufacturing and design work, all of that will be done in Australia. We do have commercial products down the line in our strategy that we think we could begin to decrease the cost and maybe find commercial benefits from importing different components, potentially finding new capabilities by bringing technologies from different countries, which we're looking into also in the defence space. For us, it's all very, very customer focused. The products we develop, the solutions, we don't develop products, we develop solutions at JAR, that they all are developed individually for each customer's use, and so that they are fundamentally developed to address the specific issue that customer is facing, rather than a blanket product that generally solves issues.
Sure. And one of your competitor finalists today was SpaceOps. They want to launch CubeSats into space. I mean, are they somebody that you might partner with? Is it something that you might end up doing yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. CubeSats is obviously on our roadmap to development. In terms of partnering, JAR Aerospace, that's a fundamental core value of ours, is collaboration. And so absolutely, I reached out to the co-founder of SpaceOps, and I had a chat to him after the pitch, and we got talking. We actually have some very similar ideas in the concepts that that some of his partners are presenting, and the technologies that he's using for his idea were very interesting in terms of the propulsion system, or the engine, where it works at all altitudes, is very similar to some of the things that we've been looking at JAR, specifically for space use.
Now, you may not be able to talk about this, but it is in the news recently with Google looking at defense contracts to create drones with weapons and things like that. And maybe you can't say, but I mean, are there drones that you're looking at developing for the Australian Defence Force that have offensive capability?
Not currently. So the drone that we're currently developing for the Defence Force is currently only surveillance and targeting.
And situational awareness.
And situational awareness. So it is very, very heavily focused on bringing that, as you mentioned, the situational awareness to the warfighter and the commander on the battlefield, really providing him an extra set of eyes in the sky, so that he can locate shooters that were unplanned, and also it provides them the new design that we're developing also provides them a safe haven, in the sense that they don't have to break cover to deploy the product.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking exactly that, eyes in the sky. Normally it's planes overhead or satellites, but this is giving people on the ground sort of an instant, localized, private capability, as opposed to having to call in and maybe expose the location that way.
Spot on. The technology's gotten so advanced to the point the concept we're developing will actually fit, is designed to fit in the webbing of the soldiers, so that on conflict they can take cover, piece together the drone from their pack or webbing, and then the concept will be one button deploy, and it'll begin transmitting data straight to the operator as soon as it's essentially transmitting useful data.
And you mentioned using things like next generation batteries and technologies from around the world that were sort of at the military spec, I guess. What sort of battery life are you talking about, and what is the networking protocol, or what's being used to be able to enable networking from such long distances?
Yeah, so I'll break that into two parts. So the first one, the batteries. In terms of that, we're essentially just reaching out to everyone in the world that we can. In terms of the flight times, we're looking at beating the current platform's capability by 15 to 20%.
And so how many hours is that?
So currently the system has 50 minutes. We're expecting over 70 minutes.
Sure.
And we're shooting for the stars. So we're aiming much above that, but that's essentially where the design's currently targeted for.
And the wireless technology?
And in terms of the RF communications, we're working with JAR Aerospace, and they've got some incredible engineers, very young SME as well.
I mean, is it Wi-Fi on steroids, or is it?
No, so radio frequency communications, but to provide redundancy, we also provide options to use the LTE networks, or your mobile phone, and also SATCOM for any connection anywhere on the globe, and that would allow you to deploy a drone over Antarctica whilst you're, I suppose, watching it from Spain. And
you're going to win. You've won $40,000 worth of Cisco Start products for your digital transformation. So, what are those products that you envisage taking advantage of?
We're based down in Carringba in South Sydney. So anyone who's local to there would understand the pains that we go through with our internet. So internet's going to be the first one, and then upgrading our internal systems to enable us to work in real time with our partners and collaborators around Australia and the world is really going to enhance the capabilities of our internal staff. It's a really exciting investment that I suppose we're able to make now, being an SME and growing out of private equity, where resources are scarce, and we're not necessarily turning over the money to continue building the business every month. It can be the cash flow can be inconsistent. So this is a really, really exciting opportunity for us to provide state-of-the-art systems for our people, and really be comfortable that they're working on it in a safe environment that's going to improve their efficiency.
And one question I always like to ask as we get to the very end of the interview is, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received to help you get where you are today?
I'd have to say it's know what you know. So we're obviously a very, very young, passionate, innovative team, but we're always the first to sort of pull up and stop and put your hand up and say where that's not, where it's not for me to come in and present my opinion or where my knowledge is suited. So I'm working in the operations and the governance side of things, and particularly developing the product for education. So I'm not going downstairs and telling the engineers how to configure their systems. So it's something that being a young team we've had to learn quickly, and we've had a lot of gaps to gloss over in the past, but it's something that I think we're starting to really own now, and we're starting to really develop a great team behind us of advisors and people with brilliant experiences that can really help guide us through those tough situations, rather than, I suppose, gathering around the four founders to try and work out how to get through a tough scenario.
Now my last two questions is, one, to finish off. Obviously the sky isn't the limit, given that you have space ambitions. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? And finally, what's your final message to IT Wire viewers and readers, and to your current and future customers and partners?
Well, JAR Aerospace is super excited about the development of STEM capability and practices within Australia. We really want to push that from a foundational level. So we have developed a company named JAR Education. Within JAR Education, we're truly pushing to upskill the young talent of Australia. That's year 5 to 10 students through integration programs that utilise drones or UAS in the classroom to teach kids how to build and code drones. So my final message is, if you have a school or you know about a school that needs a program for coding to increase their engagement in classes, tell them to get in contact with us. We've developed a very, very unique program, and it provides exciting results for the students.
So what's your website?
www.jar-aerospace.com.au, and for education it's jar-education.com.au.
And do you think you'll ever do consumer products? Some of this military stuff will come down into the world of consumer?
Absolutely. So the long-term plan is to develop consumer electronics as well. We do want to compete in the area of DJI. Obviously that's not the ideal space for us to be working now, but we do want to bring that capability to Australia and bring that
to the world.
Yeah, improve that as a sovereign capability.
Well, Samuel Lewinson, CEO of JAR Aerospace, congratulations to you and your team for winning the Cisco Start SMB Startup Competition and Prize, and good luck for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.